no clue who they are. They stay with us until we figure out who they are. So we do have people here from the 80s, from the 90s, that we do not know who they are. And so they are still here with us.
You can't run anything through a database for like DNA match?
You can, but a lot of times, especially from cases that are older, DNA was not entered into the database at that time. So if I enter this person's, I can now take this DNA and enter it, which we have done that with, it's called NamUs, is the system that we use. We can enter all of these things, but if there's nothing that gets a hit on it, then we're stuck. Now, we have recently identified one of our people who has been here. She was referred to as Cobb County Jane Doe 1984. You can look that up, it's in the news, relatively recent. She's been with us since 1984 because we didn't know who she was. We were able to use genetic genealogy to find her family. So one of her family members entered their DNA into one of the databases like 23andMe or Ancestry, and we got a hit on that from the DNA from our decedent. So then once we were able to link them, we could identify her and give her name back. So that just happened. It's pretty incredible to be a part of something like that. Yes?
Are you seeing that like more and more where the genealogy is starting to be able to help, I guess, in cases?
Forensic genetic genealogy has been the biggest advancement in forensic science for a long time. It has solved so many cases, it has brought so many people home to their families, and it has really been an asset to the forensics community. So we're like, yes, the problem is the money, like it is always a problem for everything. So funding for those things is really sparse, and that's really been the biggest holdup for most organizations, is getting the funding to do that. Yes?
Is there such thing as facial reconstruction?
There is, yes, and specifically Cobb County Jane Doe 1984, somebody came in, an artist, and did a clay bust based on her skull that we had, just guessing on what the facial features, so we had to stare at that since 1984, the clay bust in our office. I, of course, have not been here that long, but even when I first got here, I'm like, and who is that? That's Cobb County Jane Doe 1984. Okay, so yes, that is something that people do.
Is that a very expensive process?
It is. So just like anything, hiring somebody to actually take the time to do that is costly. Yeah.
Is it accurate?
Well, so that's a great question too. If you look in the news, in the article about this, you will see the photo of the clay bust compared to the actual photo of the decedent once we identified her. Not close, not super close, but not super far. So if you're thinking about somebody that's literally guessing based off of bone structure, you imagine that's a pretty difficult thing to nail. So yes.
So you have bodies here from the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Yeah.
How long do you guys plan on keeping them?
Indefinitely. Until we figure out who they are.
So next question, if I have, so let's say I have a cousin that's been missing for 10 years, is it possible that family can call to medical examiners to check females?
Yep. Absolutely. So we get those calls almost daily of people who are searching for people. Do you have somebody with this name? Do you have anybody that's unidentified? They went missing at this time frame, and we can sort of piece together, no, we don't really have anybody here meeting that description. We don't have anybody here that's been deceased for that amount of time, those types of things. So we do get those calls pretty often. Yeah.
All of these bodies are in freezers?
Well, so we have a cooler. We do have a freezer as well, but that's not typically where we store remains, because frozen remains are not great either. We want them to be cold, but not frozen. Once we get to the point where these people have been deceased for decades, they're just bones. And so we do have bones with no biological material left, and those are stored in cardboard boxes to prevent mold growth and things like that. Yeah. Yes?
So what happens if you identify the body, but no one comes to claim it?
That's also a great question. So we know who the person is, but we don't know who their family is, or they have no family. or they have family that says, I don't want anything to do with this. All of those are things that happen. So in cases like that, the person will go through the Department of Family and Children's Services. They have an indigent burial process, and the people will be buried as unclaimed or indigent. Yes, yes.
What's the process of getting information from a company like 23andMe or one of those?
Yeah, so that's something that we typically don't do. So we're not usually on that side of things. It's usually law enforcement who's gathering that data. So I imagine they probably have to subpoena that information just like they would if they had to get medical records or phone records and all of that sort of thing. I imagine there's a process for that too. There is an organization specifically geared towards forensics for this, but I imagine they probably have some sort of request process for their information also. Yes?
What's the capacity at this facility and when is it due to fill up?
Great question. So we do have a capacity, right? We do not have infinite space. We will get to see today what our capacity is, so I will show you that later. So hold that thought in your head.